We have a massive XRP update. BlackRock's new prediction is likely going to shock you. The Bitcoin spot ETFs and the recently approved Ethereum spot ETFs have garnered a lot of attention, and now there's speculation around BlackRock's Larry Fink launching an XRP ETF. Many XRP community members have pointed out recent meetings between Larry Fink and Donald Trump and the potential for an XRP ETF in the near future. One Twitter user, Zane Hyder, said during the interview with Fox Business in early 2024, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink was pressed about a potential XRP ETF from the world's largest asset management firm. When asked about the possibility of the $10 trillion asset manager bringing an XRP ETF to the market, Fink responded by saying that he couldn't discuss this. Now, this would be massive, as there are currently like 4 men in the American markets that have the potential to move markets with their endorsement or support. Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Larry Fink. And inflows from BlackRock can make a company, while outflows can break a company. Bitcoin has seen many inflows from multiple players like BlackRock, Fidelity, ARK, VanEck, and apparently, according to Arkham Intel, which is an on-chain analytics sleuthing tool, you can see that they've all been accumulating Bitcoin in the droves. And this is what sent Bitcoin flying over 85% in a period of 3 months for a total of $32,784 on a very large asset class. So it's likely the same will happen for Ethereum. And if XRP had a spot ETF, it would require far less capital to send the price of XRP flying because the market cap is far smaller. Right here, you can see that Bitcoin is $1.3 trillion. Ethereum is $420 billion, and XRP is a very small $33 billion. So even $1 billion of inflows can tremendously prop that price up, especially if there is a very low supply and a high demand in the case of an ETF. And in their latest mid-year report, they shared some key insights that will shock you, and how Ripple and XRP are perfectly positioned to take advantage of this new wave of investment through the next year and potentially see windfalls of trillions and trillions of dollars over the upcoming decade. So in this video, we'll dispel the rumors and get to the truth about if and when XRP will get its spot ETF and the potential BlackRock partnership and when it will happen. We'll also be covering a bit on the macro landscape and help you get a better grasp on the current market environment so you feel confident about managing your crypto and XRP portfolio. So if you're feeling blessed, comment 777. If you're feeling bullish, comment 777. And if you're going to be the richest person in your family tree, smash the subscribe button. Before we dive in, a quick reminder that the opinions in this video are for informational and educational purposes only and do not constitute financial, legal, or investment advice. All investments, including cryptos, carry risks and potential losses. Always do your own research and consult with a licensed financial advisor. We are not licensed financial advisors, and relying on our content for financial decisions is at your own risk. By watching this video, you agree we are not responsible for any losses or damages, and we do not guarantee any specific results or outcomes. Some of the links below may be affiliate links, and we may earn a commission, which actually helps support this channel and helps us to create value-based videos like this. We also hold some positions in the cryptocurrencies that we talk about, but that's only because we do what we believe in. However, this should not be interpreted as a recommendation for you to do the same. With that said, let's get into the video. Now, it's no secret that Larry Fink, again, the CEO of BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world with assets under management upwards of $10 trillion, is a fan of tokenization and the technology of blockchain in particular. And this is an article back in 2022, really the start of 2023, where he talks about joining a growing number of firms that are backing tokenization of securities. In other words, this is the real world asset landscape, but you need the blockchain technology to accomplish it. And so the biggest players are ultimately going to win long term. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink said that the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities, will be tokenization tokenization of securities. This approach enables a different way to trade assets like stocks, bonds, real estate, or even alternative assets like land, wine, or fine art, allowing the transfers to be visible on a public ledger. Tokenization will provide instantaneous settlement. Now, notice the key word, instantaneous settlement. You know who's been working on this technology for years and arguably has it figured out better than anyone else. That would be XRP, sitting at number 7 in terms of market cap. They will not escape the attention of a major player like BlackRock. Now, this was probably the early days of them looking into the technology, utilizing the technology, figuring it out, having their teams of professionals come in and show them how they can use it, and fully getting a grasp and an understanding around it before they started mentioning their exchange out of Texas, which we'll talk about shortly. But instantaneous settlement and reduced fees. In November, JP Morgan turned to Polygon to trade tokenized cash deposits in a Singapore-based trial via Onyx Digital Assets, a private blockchain created by the bank. The bank also promoted the benefits of tokenization in some of its white papers, saying tokenization could potentially enable financial services to be delivered in a more open manner. So we're looking for transparency. Blockchain is great at that. So is the XRPL ledger. Though he did say that blockchain technology will be very important. And he's talking about how most cryptocurrency related companies aren't going to be around. And that's just the case with most companies. If you were to look at the S&P 500 over the last 100 years, the majority of companies that were in the top 10, are no longer anywhere near there. And actually most of them don't even exist anymore. So it's just the case with companies, because companies are here to, to win for a short while, and then sometimes they never win at all, but then they go away, right? But at the end of the day, the technology or the infrastructure of blockchain is truly revolutionary. So once they started, fiddling around with blockchain technology last year, they started realizing, wait a minute, there's actually something here. We saw it, but now we actually did it. And so as early as March 20th of this year, they entered the asset tokenization race with a new fund on Ethereum network. So now they've been probably in their testing phases. They believe in the technology. They do believe it's secure. And so now they're starting to actually get ahead of it. The BlackRock USD Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund is represented by the blockchain-based BIDL token, is fully backed by cash, US Treasury bills, and repurchase agreements, and will provide yield paid out via blockchain rails every day to token holders. A token holder could be as simple as someone owns an NFT, kind of like a bond that says, I own this much of something and it is backed by something, right? But ultimately, the blockchain is that ledger that makes sure that you actually have that. Now, we are focused on developing solutions in digital asset space that help solve real problems for our clients. Sounds very interesting. That's exactly the language that Ripple has used on their website when it comes to building just about anything they do. They focus on their clients first and their needs, and then say, based on your needs, we are going to develop and build that technology or provide those services so you get a better quality of service and ultimately more efficiency. Now, creating blockchain-based tokens of traditional investments such as bonds and funds, known as tokenization of real-world assets, is a fast-growing use case for blockchains as digital assets and traditional finance or TradFi are becoming more intertwined. So it's getting to the point now where blockchain is no longer just a fad. It wasn't like a bubble. A lot of cryptos were, but they were not really there to build the future. They were there to make a quick buck with a good idea and a lot of hype, right? But that's something that XRP is not doing in general now. And I do believe in the future, we're going to get a point where you won't even know the difference. The majority of technologies will be using blockchain in some way, shape, or form. And it's going to make things far more seamless, frictionless. The transactions are going to be far more cheap, efficient. Everything will be better because of blockchain. Now, again, this is no new news, but BlackRock and Citadel are backing a Texas stock exchange, and they're going to use blockchain technology to do it, which, again, when you think about the offerings, at some point in time, they're going to have to look at the general market players who've been around a long period of time, have the most liquidity, right, and are obviously not scams and have good technology that are here to stay, and say, are we only going to offer Bitcoin and Ethereum, or are we going to offer probably the top 10 tokens that are not like a Binance coin, which would be an exchange token? BlackRock and speed trading firm Citadel Securities are backing a new stock exchange in Texas designed to challenge giants such as the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. Investors, and by the way, this is from Xavier Rolette, former CEO of the London Stock Exchange, so this guy knows what he's talking about, is basically saying investors behind it mean to pressure exchanges on fees and seek to disintermediate them too, if they can, as they hold themselves to be a large source of liquidity and flows in their own right. CEO Larry Fink has said he wants to bring costs of trading down for ordinary investors. Why is that important? Well, because a lot of the times the costs are actually relatively high because Texas, not Texas, but New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ basically hold a monopoly in terms of exchanges. So that said, indeed, his Bitcoin ETF costs a fraction of the fees that rivals such as Grayscale charge. Fink has also set his sights on tokenization, the digital trading of stocks and bonds, and what could be an opportunity worth trillions. And that's the key word, trillions. So what do they see in the future? In this current report from BlackRock, they talk about the new infrastructure blueprint and how the world is changing. In the case, they call it a digital transformation. Rapid technology progress in the past few decades has remade the world's economies and societies. People are producing and using ever-increasing amounts of data, and the trend is set to continue, especially with the rise of artificial intelligence. Digital proliferation at this scale needs infrastructure investment. And right here, you can see that we're currently in 2024, about halfway through the year. And into 2025, there's going to be about $39 billion of investments in just data centers alone. And the demand is going to increase by 2030 in a period of 5 years up to $49 billion. So it's not just going to be demand for, access to these data centers, but you think about what's causing all of that demand. Yes, it will be general AI and efficiency purposes, but it'll also be technologies like oracles, money transfers, remittances, all of the stuff that makes the internet more efficient. So diving into their 2024 mid-year global outlook, there are some major themes where XRP can play a very important role. And for the first theme, they call it getting real. We see much of the potential large investment flowing into pipes and people of the economy. Think new data centers powering AI models, computer chips, solar farms, super batteries, factories, logistics centers, roads, bridges, schools, hospitals, and countries with growing populations. It's a new wave of investment into the real economy, transforming economies and markets. And if there's one thing that virtually every single one of these businesses and individuals will need, it's the infrastructure to transact. When you think about what's going to power the real economy, obviously the financial, space is always going to be there, right? But if they are inefficient relative to crypto, and Larry Fink and BlackRock are behind crypto, or at least the tokenization, they're going to use some of the biggest technologies and they're going to bring that into the scale of their investments. The second major theme is that they're going to be leaning into risk. And in it, they say investors may feel tempted to sit on the sidelines and await clarity around the current market environment, especially given the attractive returns from holding cash. And they're speaking specifically to bonds, right? And the rates being so high. Yet we see bigger rewards for leaning into risk in this environment. So they're basically giving you a really good vote of confidence that they see the market going higher through the end of the year. To continue, they say we think investors should take more risk deliberately now across multiple dimensions. First, consider the time horizon. We have the most conviction about the near term. So that would mean the upcoming months, weeks, and through the end of the year. And when you think about crypto, it is arguably one of the most risk-on environments currently known. So that said, if they're going to be leaning into risk, then we should probably think about what they're doing too in terms of our portfolios in crypto. Then in the third theme, they talk about spotting the next wave. And I know that crypto has been here for about, a decade, but usually takes a few decades for anything to hit critical mass and billions of users. And when you look at the US market without regulatory clarity as of now, yet we still have 52 million users, They basically state that investors should look for where the next wave of investment opportunity may come and be ready to overhaul portfolio allocations to capture it. This is not only about the next 6 months or year, but about recognizing the possibility of a very different future states of the world. And in this article from CNN, it says millennials stand to become the richest generation in history after a $90 trillion wealth transfer, because the baby boomers and the generation after or before them is basically passing away. Baby boomers are getting to the point where now they're going to start to pass away. And so a lot of that wealth is going to transfer over to millennials and Gen Z. And how are they going to spend it? How are they going to allocate? Realistically, they're going to want asset classes that are more with the times. And, all of the studies show that millennials and Gen Z and under are very comfortable investing in crypto, whereas older generations are not, which means a lot of that wealth will likely be transferred into new exchanges, tokenization, crypto technologies, blockchain, and yes, XRP. Then last, inside of this document, they talk about the infrastructure opportunities behind it. And basically they state that infrastructure investment is key to funding the low carbon transition. And by the 2040s, they estimate that low carbon investment will account for up to 80% of energy spending, up from 64% now. And by the way, when you really think about energy, it is literally the backbone for a wealthy nation. We can virtually accomplish nothing without consistent growth in energy. So more energy production, cheaper energy production, cleaner energy production, and guess what? XRP and Ripple already check all of those boxes, as Ripple Labs has indicated that XRP is 57,000 times more environmentally friendly than Bitcoin. So even if it doesn't matter to you or the average person, you would never really notice it. You're not one of those climate crisis type people. At the end of the day, these are the types of metrics that a company like BlackRock would like to see. And if they're already investing in Bitcoin and love it as an asset class, well, then they really love XRP. The company said that this in a recent blog post titled "The Environmental Impact Cryptocurrency Mining versus Consensus." And if you want, you can go there by going to coinspeaker.com, and then right here would be the link. And this is something that XRP and Ripple have already committed to. As a leading provider of enterprise blockchain solutions for payments, it is committing to a carbon net zero by 2030. Ripple unveiled several initiatives to lead global finance toward a carbon neutral future, including the launch of an open source tool that helps enable any blockchain to decarbonize. And Ripple has even created an environment through their XRP ledger for companies to launch carbon neutral or low carbon initiatives. So right here you have Carbon Land Trust, which is built using XRP. Carbon Land Trust offers transparent nature-based carbon credits and inclusive access to voluntary carbon markets for landowners and corporations alike. Right here they say Carbon Land Trust provides landowners and corporations with the Web3 platform as a service to have the most ESG impact on carbon markets. Our streamlined onboarding process enables even small holder project developers to issue carbon credits from protected forest land. And at the same time, businesses can be assured they are acquiring high quality, durable credits through blockchain and in this case, their protocol. Again, that hits another major key point for something that BlackRock would want to see in a blockchain and in particular a crypto before they launch anything like an ETF. Unless, of course, right, it's as big as Bitcoin or Ethereum in terms of size and market cap, because that means it has liquidity and interest. So when it's all said and done, at the end of the day, all of these are just speculation, and that's usually the case, right? You're looking at Jack the Rippler, who's a very well-known Ripple XRP community member, and he's basically stating that Trump was spotted meeting with Larry Fink, which is probably true, and a potential candidate for Treasury Secretary. Larry Fink previously hinted at the possibility of an XRP ETF launch, but we really don't have the exact hint. Either way, pro-crypto Trump and pro-crypto Larry Fink are very likely to take advantage of anything that is going to be in the top 10 in terms of market cap by crypto. And he's likely going to launch this not only on his exchange, but also present the opportunity for an ETF. So it's very likely that an ETF will be coming. But again, the majority of the time it is just speculation and something that is going to get clicks. Now, just a few days ago, Coin Bureau made the note of XRP jumping in price based on a few key factors. Obviously, the ETF hopes and the buzz around a potential XRP ETF in the US. And Coin Bureau is a very well known crypto channel and group. So I do believe when they share these types of things, they're not, sharing anything just because it's only hype factor. They're sharing information to the best of their ability using whatever tools and resources they have or connections. Then there's a Coinbase relisting, which is actually available to New York clients. So if you're in New York, you can buy XRP on Coinbase now, which is phenomenal. And I think, again, once we actually get a settlement, which we're hoping comes very soon, if not this month, that we'll get a Coinbase relisting immediately all around the nation, which would be massive for XRP. That would definitely send the price flying to over $1. And then finally, whale accumulation. Big investors are buying up $55 million in tokens, clear signs of a bullish trend. So at the end of the day, there's always hype around the potential for an an XRP ETF. But at the end of the day, I don't think we'll get that until we have complete and total regulatory clarity. And that would likely be, even if we got it this year, right, we would probably have to see an Ethereum ETF perform relatively well before companies were willing to make another offering of another token like XRP as an ETF. Because if the volume and inflows aren't there for Ethereum, then that would be a good indicator that they probably won't be there for other things. The demand ultimately needs to be there. So people recently voted on it, and the majority of people think that an ETF for XRP will likely come in 2025. That said, I do believe it would be one of the first major players to get an ETF aside from Solana. So to cover the macro environment, as you can see here, Bitcoin has consistently been pumping since July 16th and making new higher highs. We're currently sitting at about $66,000. We recently touched 67,500, whereas the S&P 500 has been getting hammered with a major gap down and then some serious sell pressure. So we are currently negatively correlated. One is going up, the other is going down, and that is totally fine because when you really look at the S&P 500, it has just consistently been climbing, while Bitcoin was dumping. So now it just needs to cool off. We've seen some distribution in it, but I have a renewed sense of confidence based on the analysis of some of the really smart folks over at BlackRock and their affinity to want to be risk on in the current market environment, especially leading up to an election. Again, no president and no administration wants a recession on their hands right before an election. That is an immediate grounds for a lost election, even though the election's probably already decided, which is why even people like Larry Fink are meeting with Donald Trump. But across the board, even if markets didn't perform that well over the upcoming month or two, it seems to me that Bitcoin is looking very, very strong, right? We recently had the local lows right here to right here, broke down below there, right? Not only wicked a lot of people out, caught people in a bear trap, removed a lot of leverage, people started getting bearish, then the market started coming right back up for that, that 2AB play. Basically, you break down below the previous low only to scare people out of the market or again, liquidate as many people as you possibly can before moving in the originally intended direction. So I do thoroughly believe we're going to hit that $71,000 mark again. And if we do, it would be, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth time. And usually by 6 or 7 points at any point in time in a trend, you're highly likely to break through that previous resistance and it will likely become a support. So that said, it's highly likely that XRP will follow suit. And that next major point of resistance would be 74 cents. But XRP is typically more explosive in its moves relative to Bitcoin. That's due to less liquidity, it's a smaller market cap, it's easier to move, there are stronger holders generally speaking, and I would argue that the XRP army is probably going to send that thing right back up to $1 once we hit the 75 cent range. Then when I pull up those EMAs, right, we just bounced off that 10 EMA. So if we hold this range here from 58 cents down to 55 cents over the upcoming days, it's going to be a nice little squat before the next major move up, which I highly think is going to hit hit 74 cents. So, and then it remains to be seen what happens there. I do believe that we're in for some new all-time highs, or at least the previous all-time high by the end of this year, if we consistently see strength in the general market. And so I just see these prices as, lifetime buying opportunities. And if you're not buying here, that's totally fine, but it is something that I would definitely hold through. Now, that is not financial advice. That is just my opinion, and that's what I'll be doing. But I hope you enjoyed the video. And go ahead and leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think is going to happen in terms of the XRP ETFs, or when those are going to be coming in. And, go ahead and leave us a like if you enjoyed the video. Smash the subscribe button. And then go to the description below and go to bullrunners.com to discover how to earn more crypto in less than 10 minutes with the #1 play to earn XRP game. Thanks so much for watching the video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one, my friend.